Hello and welcome to the Varietal Show on Varietal Literature's YouTube channel. My name is Rory, and we are going to do a write-along stream. If you have come to this channel because you enjoyed the fairy tale readings, we do those Tuesday at 6:30. This is Thursday at 6:30, and what we do on Thursdays at 6:30 is because I'm a writer, and I just enjoy writing, especially with you fine people, is we sit around and we write stupid stuff. We waste time is what we do in a pleasurable way, but in my opinion. And what we're going to waste time on tonight is something that we've done before, but we're doing a twisted version of it. And that is, we are going to take a look at a game called Quill. So, if you haven't heard of Quill before, I'm going to describe it all in the litgames introduction, but just a note, if you are not watching this live, if you are watching this pre-recorded later, down in the description below, there will be timestamps for various parts, highlights of the episodes, if you will. And that's if you want to skip ahead and just hear the results or just get to the writing or whatever it is. The stream is designed for really three purposes. You can participate in the live chat, and give me ideas and help me write these letters, or write your own version and share it in the chat and I'll read it. You can set it in the background and make it sort of a friend while you write, if you will. And then finally, if you want to watch this later and you come up with your own stuff based on the game that we play, feel free to put that in the comments and I'll read it in the following week. Either way, just here to have fun with writing, and if that is an interest to you, then you're in the right place. I see GS is here in the live chat and says, "Good evening, I love that we're doing Quill again. I'm glad that you liked it." It's always a gamble, right? You know, like, the more structured the games get, the more satisfying they are to play, but also the more structured they are, the more there are, like, rules, and people get a little, you know, lost and frustrated and whatever else. So let's hope that doesn't happen today. Anyways, that's enough of me faffing about. Let's get to the lit game. The game that lit games stands for literature games, and it's games, expressive games, lyric games. There's a ton of different names for them, apparently. I call them literature games. They're basically us writing, and sometimes they have a point system, which there will be one today because we're using a actual... They call it an RPG. It's basically a game with a point system and characters and some dice. It's mostly just writing, though. But anyways, lit games are just anything that's kind of a creative starting point that we create something together. And what we're doing tonight, as I mentioned a few times now, but I will describe in a little more detail, is a thing called Quill. Specifically, we're doing a sort of DLC add-on, if that makes sense to you. So Quill, we played a bit of the base game before, and basically what Quill is you pick a character. They have 3 traits: penmanship, language, and I'm forgetting the third one right now, but we'll be looking at the rules in a second. And you get these little assignments. And I'm going to show you the one that we're going to work on today. We're going to work on this one called Forbidden Love. And the important info here is it gives us a little setup of what your letter is trying to achieve. In this case, we are trying to propose to lovely Florence Payne without her mother picking up on the fact that we are proposing to her. And her mother may read the letter. So it's about writing a coded marriage proposal to our beloved Florence Payne. So it gives you a goal like that. You have 5 paragraphs you need to write. At the end of each paragraph, you make what's called a penmanship roll, which I'll do the rolls. I'll let you know what succeeds and doesn't, but it decides how many points you get. And at the beginning of each paragraph, we have to pick a word from what's called the ink pot. And the ink pot, which I will zoom in a bit here, make it a little larger. The ink pot gives you pairs of words. And if you, we'll make a little roll. You can use the nice word or the bad word. And then there is some other stuff you can make a choice, but basically it's a way of describing randomly whether you are inarticulate in this way or not. But none of that matters. The point is we have to pick a word at the beginning of each paragraph, and we have to use it once and only once in the letter. And specifically in that paragraph, or we cannot get points. And however many points we get determines how the letter is received. Now, if I've lost you, it doesn't matter, because what we're doing right now, the points and all of that, the rolling of the dice, I'm going to be doing that. It doesn't matter if you understand that. What does matter is that you help me write what is a coded love letter, of course, because Valentine's Day is coming up. I must say, I genuinely don't know how I'm going to do this. I kind of just committed to it. I do this sometimes with this stream. I just commit to something, and I have no idea what this is going to look like. So you could be watching someone fail for 40 minutes, or you could be watching hilarity. We'll see. Let me pull the rules up, because I have them down from last time. A little quick check of rules for myself. I'm going to be using my poet character again. And if you want to do this yourself, to do specifically what we're doing right now, to have those rules for yourself, you'd have to go to itch.io or DM's Guild, I think it's called, or something like that. They both sell it, to get the game Quill. And then you would have to buy, although it is also by donation, so I think you can take it free if you want, the love letter add-on, which gives you additional scenarios around love letters. Okay. This game depends on D6 dice if you want to roll along. There are different characters you can take. We are going to, again, be using our poet. Don't worry, we will be using larger text for the actual writing, but there is no reason for us to waste any more time other than to say that each paragraph we can choose to add a flourish. A flourish is basically an adjective or an adverb, and it gives us a chance to win +2. If we get to use one of those fancy words. However, if we roll in such a way that we have to use one of the basic words from the Inkpot, and we chose to flourish it, as they say, the prose comes off clumsy and we will lose a point. And it's actually pretty hard to get enough points to really succeed in this. So we will have to do flourishes, but we do have to be careful. It's up to chance, though, so really, who knows? So the question that we'll start with, before I start my writing here, chat, do we want to flourish on that first paragraph, or do we want to go with sort of the guaranteed 1 point without the risk of a loss? So we could go for the flourish. If we get the superior word, we can get +2 on that first paragraph. If your eyes are glazing over, do you want to take a risk for more, but with a chance to lose points? Or do you want to be safe? GS says, we can't flourish basic words. We can, but the flourish doesn't have the intended effect, and we lose 1 point. We have to. Basically, we have to decide it. I'm asking you this now because I have to decide it before a roll. Also, if you guys have ever written love letters before, I want to hear about them. Because I feel like there's not enough love letters in the world anymore. And I really like a good love letter. I don't know if you've ever read any kind of like historical love letters, but they're closer to what I would call sex than like a text, like sexting someone, than romantic exactly. And I guess that kind of makes sense, because if you're in a long-distance relationship in the time before phones, let alone like video calls and planes, I'm sure there must be a way to get by. Okay, so we got to vote for flourish. So we're going to take a flourish on the first paragraph, and then we're going to roll and see if we get it. Let's track this as paragraph 1, not page 1. Flourish, yes. We're language roll. Just stuff I have to track to score this later. Okay, so because we took the poet, our language is good. And we want to get at least one of them to have a 5 or a 6 when we do this. And I think there is a buff here, or a debuff rather. You have to write this letter in a sly code that only Florence will understand. So we'll have to roll an extra penmanship test at the end of the letter. So that's an end of letter thing. So that doesn't affect us here. Okay, we got a 5. That's the one thing that a poet is quite good at, is the language roll. I'm going to go to this playlist. Okay. I just want to hear a different song. Okay. So I will read you in full what we have to do. I'll zoom out a little bit here. She just says, scroll, please. Is it fixed now? Is there something you couldn't see? Okay. You are corresponding with Florence Payne, whose mother is Lady Bethany Payne, an influential courtier. She is protective and does not allow anyone to see Florence in a romantic way. However, you have caught Florence's eye and have been sneaking around for the past few months. You are besotted with Florence and you wish to propose in a letter. However, you may have to contend with Lady Bethany if the letter is too obviously declaring your love for Florence. Instead, you must be clever with your language and never directly allude to a proposal. I think they meant to say directly reference, because obviously we're going to allude. Otherwise, how does this work? Just in case Lady Bethany intercepts the letter. And we had a successful roll. I think this is going to be too small for most people to see, so I'm going to put it's showing up smaller than I thought it would. I'm going to put the ink pot here. And make it a little easier to see. We can pick one of the better words, which are the words on the right. And I will read them out in a moment, in case you are not sighted and want to participate. Okay. Our inkpot words are garden, hounds, ivory, swan, glimmering, noble, throw, scent, sow, as in pig, and angel. We have to use it once and only once in this paragraph or in this letter. What word are we using, guys? Let me know in the chat which word you want to use. Remember, it is a love letter and it is a proposal, but it's one that her mother cannot pick up as being a love letter or proposal. Okay, I'm going to have a drink of water and then we'll get started. Okay, we're starting off with the hard one. Sow. There's a vote in the chat for sow. Not let me do strike through on here. You'd think after years of using this Google Docs I would have figured anything out about it, but I haven't actually. I just specifically haven't, I guess. Okay. So one more time, the lady's name is Florence. Pain. Dear esteemed Florence. Okay, we gotta use the word sow. We have 5 paragraphs. We have to swoon the lady, but in code. Yeah, we have a flourish on it, so we can do like pink sow or plump sow or something like that. See, my first instinct is that we could start talking about this like, oh, I'm you know, my father said you must get a good sow to have a, you know, whatever else, like do the analogy of obtaining a sow, but that's not romantic in the least. Like being like obtaining a sow for the butcher is my code for I want to marry you. I think that would be so horrible. I mean, I guess we could just throw it away in the first act here and go for the worst coded letter of all time. I mean, that could be fun. I am writing you today to speak on your... I think maybe that's what we got to do. I think it's probably going to go terribly, but to speak on your cattle assets at your estate. Is it still like cattle is just any like livestock, right? Or is cattle specifically cows? I mean, if it's specifically cows, I'm just gonna have to call it. There was a version of this that ran through my head where we were basically catfishing, and I was going to say we were the rat from Ratatouille, and we were just trying to hide that fact and maintain a romance. GS says no, but I don't know to what. On your cattle assets at your estate. Okay, I see a vote for saying your livestock assets at your estate. When we spoke at the what is the safest place to admit speaking? Church, right? When we spoke last Sunday during the busy and well attended, or sorry, during the well attended, let's say. I'm trying to imply that they couldn't have been up to anything untoward. During the well attended morning service. I can't believe we're doing the analogy as livestock, but I also feel like it's the right move. Because in my heart of hearts, I'm like, I want to write a great letter because I'm a writer, right? Like I want to write great things. But also, that's not really what this show is. This show is idiotic. This show is wasting time. Because it's fun. I'm writing to you to speak on your lives, speak about. This is more insightful on how writing actually goes. During the well-attended morning service on our pure and holy day of the Lord. During our conversation, you had mentioned that there was a beautiful, plump sow whom was available for purchase. should the buyer be a good fit for the beloved pig? It's whom, isn't that? Isn't Sal the object of that sentence? Beautiful plump sow. That feels like the object. I think it's supposed to be whom. I don't know. Somebody tell me if that's the object or the subject. Because it's whom if it's the object, and it's who if it's the subject. Or at least that's my understanding. I'm sure someone out there can correct me. If you're watching at home, there is a live chat. Maybe that's the way to get engagement in the live chat. I'll just say factually incorrect things about grammar. That really seems to liven the internet up. Should the buyer be a good fit for the beloved pig? I am writing today to say that I believe I could make that pig quite happy and be an excellent caregiver for it. Happy Valentine's, people. GS says so is subject, but the subject is the person speaking. You had mentioned that there was a beautiful plump sow. What's you there then? Another subject? You know, one nice thing about Japanese, I speak a bit of Japanese. One nice thing about Japanese is it's pretty clearly delineated where the subject is. Like, English messes it all around. In fact, well, okay, we'll add the husbandry to the second paragraph, so let's make our penmanship roll. Now, I believe penmanship is our worst roll. Let me double check that. Yes, which is true. If you've ever met a poet, garbage handwriting. Writers in general, actually, it's so counterintuitive, but writers in general look like they have never written a word. Like, when they write stuff, it looks like somebody with a crayon is moving the paper and keeping the crayon still. Like, it's really bad. And you would think that people who spend their entire free time writing, like me, would be any good at it. And I wrote by hand quite a bit, but no. All right. And unsurprisingly, we got ourselves a 4, which means we have failed our penmanship roll. Which means we do not gain an additional point there. So let's add that up here. Penmanship. Fail. Get used to seeing that. We're going to fail a lot of penmanship rolls. Okay. Which means we need to do some rolls for paragraph 2. Are we flourishing? Yes or no? Again, if we flourish, there is a chance that we could lose a point no matter what we do this round. Or there is a chance that we could get an additional point. So right now we're running at about 2 points. And we need to get at least like 6 to get an even moderately good outcome. And we have 5 paragraphs to do it. So we're flourishing, yes or no? And then I'm going to do our language roll once I know that. I can't do that ahead of time. Actually, since you're picking anyways, I can do it. I'll know the result. I'll leave it up to you. Okay, GS says no to the flourish, which is a good call because despite the fact that we rolled 3 dice, which gives us pretty good odds, we got all fails. 1, 2, 3. which means we won't lose a point. I think we also can't gain one. I gotta double check the rules on the whatever. Okay, so we've used Pig and Sow. That's gone. Based on that roll, we have to pick from the left-hand side, which means available to us is Lawn, Dogs, White, Duck, Shining, Wellborn, Toss, Smell, or Cherub. Lawn, Dogs, White, because we did not flourish once and only once in this letter. We cannot use the word sow again, as I understand it. I think we can keep using pig, though. Okay. So, he's making the case now as to why he'd be an excellent caregiver for the pig. And there was a suggestion that we talk about animal husbandry. So, I guess, basically, we'll just have to make the point in this section about virility, but again, not overplaying our hand so that the mother knows. Okay, be an excellent caregiver for it. However, I feel that anyone could claim they would be the very best of herders for such pink and sweet, supple porcine? Is that the official name? I'm gonna double check this. Give me a second. I was gonna say bovine, but that's obviously cows. Porcine? Yeah. It is. Sweet and supple porcine creature. For such a... Let's just take away the pink. Such a sweet and supple porcine creature. One so elegant in its step, it attracts the eyes of all in the field. Is this what I should be doing with my night? I don't know. Writing about attractive pigs. If anyone comes in late and they ask what's going on, what are we doing? Tell them we're writing about how attractive pigs are to romance a woman. Obviously, a creature of such tender beauty would be kept in the finest pen and whipped so rarely that it would not even wince at the sight of the rod. Nay, it would be granted no worries nor pain. Nay, it would be granted no worries nor pain, and would be provided only the best feed to support a life of excellent health in its pure employment of animal husbandry. It would be so well attended by the staff about it. Its piglets suppled well away from its suckled? I said suppled. I don't think that's a word. I think I meant to say suckled. Well away, suckled by bottle, well away from its pristine porcine, I just like the rhyme, teats. I think the answer to my earlier concern about whether I even knew how to do this is no, I don't. Can you imagine getting this letter from your secret lover? Jesus Christ. It would sleep in soft beds and may be made to smell of fresh lavender from hoof to snout. The pig, should it be given, would be granted a life of luxury and only the finest hand-picked muds. Okay, let's do our penmanship test and move on to our next paragraph. What should the subject of our next paragraph be? This one was animal husbandry. Okay. Here we go. Oh, I passed the penmanship test. Okay. Okay, well, that's good, because we failed our language roll, and that's going to hurt us. Okay. This brings us to our third paragraph. Do we want to flourish this one? Yes or no? Again, chat, let me know, and I will do our language roll. Gia says, well, I guess yes, because it's the final. I know you have 5 paragraphs. It's not the final, but I will take that yes, because the delay is going to make this take even longer. I rolled 1, 2, 3 again, so I failed our language roll again. Oof, I don't know. I don't think we're going to impress her with our pig letter. You know, typical woman. You know, you just try to write her a love letter where you liken her to a pig in animal husbandry. In a pen where she cannot leave. And she's complaining about the language. Just such a trope in relationships. Who doesn't have a story that begins with a pig analogy? A story of romance. Oh, I remember when I was romancing your grandmother. I told her she had a face that would be the envy of every pig were she a pig. And I meant it as a compliment. So that means we have to pick a word. Push this down a bit, make it a little easier to see. We just did smell, so that's gone. So we have to pick from the left side again, which is lawn, dogs, white duck, shining, well-born, toss, and cherub. Gonna have a drink of water while I wait for chat to pick a word. That's lawn, dogs, white duck, shining, well-born, toss, and cherub. Okay, we got to vote for cherub. I can already think of a way to work this in. What do you think we should focus on now? If you're trying to woo someone, and you're doing this bad of a job. We talked about animal husbandry. Maybe we should, this is where we should really lean into the affection that he has for this pig. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. And why shouldn't... Stop hitting D. Why shouldn't the hog-snouted, chubby little cherub? Oh, that's right. We flourish, so we're going to lose a point here. I don't think she's going to like our letter. That you have on offer be given all the luxuries of a fine dame? After all, is not love the thread by which the universe divvies out its blessings and tightens its communities? What else could one do if they were enchanted by the emerald eyes of a prize pig? Should they ignore it because it is should they ignore it because it is in a socially different place than the snobs would allow? Or should it instead, or should one instead embrace the passions of such raw and deep affection? Gia says ruby eyes. I like the idea of doing a bad job. That's why I said emerald eyes. Pigs don't have green eyes. At this point, I don't see how we can get enough points anyways. Why not? Such raw and deep affection. Instead, embrace the passions of such raw and deep affection and bestow back upon the beast the blessings it has gifted one humble man's eyes. You know, one thing that is fun as a writer is being given permission to overwrite. I say a creature of such fine construction deserves a place filled. You know, one thing that old Victorian writers love to talk about was the immaterial. Filled by the immaterial yet tangible passions of a great livestock baron such as I. I think in our Sunday conversation, I was inclined to believe you saw that unique glimmer. Hello, Smudge. Are you gonna bother us today? You gonna say hello? Come here, say hello. Meow. Whoa, Smudge. Smudge visit. Hello, Smudge. Smudge, do you have anything you want to say to the audience? Meow. Meow. Okay, he's giving me warning licks. If I don't put him down, he's gonna bite me. I like that line, yes. I was inclined to believe you saw that unique glimmer in me. After all, when I visited her on your farm, no one could have mistaken how her snorts filled this man's heart with domestic bliss. Maybe we'll work your sentence in the next paragraph. The other one. Surely it is no one's goal to rob a man of such beauty as it sets in his beholding eye. And if you say, I don't know what that means, Rory. Yeah, I don't really either. Okay, let's do a penmanship roll. And while I do that, I want you guys to decide whether you want a flourish roll on this. What a surprise. We failed our penmanship roll. I think we kind of have to flourish the next two paragraphs. Also, they can't be too long because we're getting a little light on time, but that's on me. I think we kind of have to flourish to even have a chance here. We are not getting points. We are failing all our penmanship rolls. We just lost a point on the last one. I think we have like 3 points at this, maybe 2. Like if we nailed it for the next 2 paragraphs, we would have a chance. So I think we flourish. Finally passed a language roll. It's ridiculous that we failed so many. Which is good because we're flourishing. Which means we have to pick a word. So let's go back up, pick a word. So because we passed, we can take from the right-hand side. That gives us gardens, hounds, ivory, swan, glimmering, noble, and throw. I'll say that again, and you let me know which one you want to use in this paragraph. Garden, hounds, ivory, swan, glimmering, noble, and throw. And I will have my drink of water, and then we will go into paragraph 4. Which one am I feeling? Okay, we got to vote for noble. Okay, and that means we go all the way down here. Word, noble. We don't do our penmanship yet. Okay. So we've established his passion. He's made his offer on like what the house and her life would be like. And he introduced the concept in the first paragraph. So we have 2 more paragraphs to kind of close this deal. And I think we need to start hinting towards the fact that this is a marriage proposal, not merely a love letter. Not like come hang out with me, but marry me under the eyes of God. So how do you use the noble pig as a way to propose marriage without the mother picking up that's what you're doing, and maybe assuming that your lover here is a little daft. So because I feel like there needs to be like some reference to under God in ceremony here. Maybe like just really emphasizing weird parts of a sale. It is, of course, a concern that your estate is not entirely your own to piece out and sell. Of course, or I should say, as well. Though one with such rapturous passion for the pig might seem a risk to tear it away, I am a proper livestocker. I don't think that's really a word, but I mean, I guess it is. I don't think that's the word most people would use, though. I am a proper livestocker who would never fancy such an elopement. of one's property. Theft even. Rather, the rituals of the purchase are very important, are of the utmost importance. To a Christian man such as myself. After all, no purchase can be said to be godly and complete without the witness of a what are they called? Those people who could like facilitate purchases and like verify signatures and stuff. They're kind of just verified middlemen for purchasing contracts. What are they called? It's on the tip of my tongue. Notary, that's right. Witness of a properly in the interest of using the wrong words for the wrong thing to try and give away what's going on here, what is it called when like a priest becomes a priest? Like there's a term for it, like he's blank into the church. I'm having a hard time with words today. That's concerning for somebody looking at a career in writing. Ordained. Why did that not come to me? Of course it's ordained. A witness of a properly ordained notary under God. Yes, Smudge, we all hear you, and it's very important that you know that, but you'll have to wait. Smudge is yelling, probably because he saw his own reflection in the window and he thinks it's an intruding cat. He stares out the window and watches for animals to go by, which they sometimes do. And then we have to deal with him being just on edge for like an hour. After all, no purchase can be said to be godly and complete without the witness of a properly ordained notary under God approving of any such sale. And when we are discussing a pig of such noble stature and blood, I expect nothing less than the finest purchase, ring and all, ring and dress that the countryside has ever seen. You haven't missed it yet, Holly's house. We're almost done. Oh no, Holly's house says, sorry, I'm really sick and just woke up. Oh, I hope you feel better. We are writing a coded message to make a proposal to a woman whose mother does not let her date at all and would be angry to know that we were dating. So we have to code it, and the way that the dice have fallen and chat's choices have fallen, is we are coding it as a livestock purchase of a pig. As, you know, most romantic letters often go. Okay, I'm not going to dwell on that because I don't want to go too long. We have one paragraph left. Let me make my penmanship roll, which is yet another fail. I am going to have us flourish, because if we don't, we're kind of screwed and have no chance. And then we have to pick our last word. Okay, our last word. Let's find out if we even have a chance here. Oh, excellent. They're all successes across the board. Okay, so from the right-hand words, we need to pick one word we're going to use once in our closing paragraph, where we are apparently pitching the sale of a pig to us, but really are offering marriage to the woman we're writing. Garden, hounds, ivory, swan, glimmering, throw. I will say that again. Our final word that we have to work in is a garden, hounds, ivory, swan, glimmering, or throw. I'll have my drink of water. Chat, let me know which word you want me to use. GS says Holly's turn. Oh, I don't know. Is it? There are 6 left, so if I don't get an answer soon, I'm just going to roll a dice. That's Garden Hounds, Ivory Swan, Glimmering, and Throw. Holly's House says Garden seems the easiest. Okay. I don't know that any of them are particularly easy, honestly. Pass. Garden. We do the penmanship roll later. So, we have to close this deal. So now we have, we've proposed what are, we've sort of introduced the concept using this pig analogy. We talked about the life that the pig would lead, aka the lady we're writing to. We talked about our deep, abiding, passionate love for that pig, and the fine marriage ceremony that we would grant it and settle for nothing less, which brings us to paragraph 5, where we have to close the deal. So how do you close the deal and get that marriage proposal out in this final paragraph? It doesn't need to be long, by the way. None of these need to be long. I do think that GS came up with some good sentences I can use here. And I guess I'll start with those, because I wanted to work them in. As I proudly oversee my richly stocked farmyard, I can only notice the empty pen that I hope the fine pig shall soon attend. And then what I think is probably one of the best lines of the night, also, I'm gonna use here. It is less a pen as so luxurious. It may be that one could better describe it as a royal garden. And upon this royal soil, I would be honored to have her sturdy hawks tread in a life of worryless luxury. Truly, no porcine life will know a better existence than the one I can provide upon my farm. For this reason, I must finally ask, would you deny that sweet pink flesh the passions of care and love? Or would thou say yes in the eyes of God and a notary? I shall sell this pig. Sincerely, Robertson Whisper Winston the third. Okay. Okay, let's go back and oh yeah, there's one. This has one last penmanship roll because I have to hide it or something like that. What was it? It said you'll have to write this letter in a sly code that only Florence will understand. Roll an extra penmanship test at the end of the letter. If this succeeds, gain an extra 2 points. If it fails, reduce your total by 2 points. Oh my god. Well, we're not in a good place. And it failed. So, I mean, I don't think there's any way this is going to get enough points. But whatever we get, it's going to get -2 final penmanship. And then the one I just rolled, I have to do for the paragraph I just wrote. And then we'll read it back, which also failed. I don't think I passed any of the penmanship tests, honestly. Okay, so this was yes to a flourish. Yes, it passed. So that is, and it failed its penmanship. So that's +2. Just give me a second here, chat, and then we'll read it back. Yes, it's a flourish. Yes, the language roll passed. So that's a +2. And yes, it failed the penmanship. This was yes to a flourish, and it failed the language roll, which means it's a -1. And it failed its penmanship, so it's just a -1. And no flourish, so, and it failed its language roll, which I think actually just means it gets a 1. I cannot remember, so I'm just going to say that. It also passed its penmanship. Flourish, yes. Successful, yes. Failed the penmanship. So, I don't think we passed one penmanship roll this entire game. GS has added a wonderful thing, which is sell this porcine queen. Okay, so that's 2, 4, 3, 5, 7, and then minus 2 equals 5. So our final is 5. And stick around, I'll tell you, it gives you the results for that number. But let's go back and read it. Alright, if you are skipping ahead here, it's because you just want to know the results. And what we did today was we did a game called Quill again. It's a letter writing game, and the conditions I'm going to reread, and then I'm going to read you the letter we came up with. We were corresponding with Florence Payne, whose mother is Lady Bethany Payne, an influential courtier. She is protective and does not allow anyone to see Florence in a romantic way. However, you have caught Florence's eye and have been sneaking around for the past few months. We are besotted with Florence, and we wish to propose in a letter. However, Lady Bethany will probably intercept the letter, and if we make it too obvious that we're declaring our love and proposing, she would probably just destroy the letter. So we had to cleverly propose without revealing that we were proposing to lovely Florence Payne, and what we came up with was horrible. Dear esteemed Florence, I wish I had more romantic music, but I didn't think of this ahead of time. Do I have anything even lightly? Whatever. I am gonna put it on Beach Street. There it is. A little more dreamy, at least. Dear esteemed Florence, I am writing you today to speak about your livestock assets at your state. When we spoke last Sunday's service, when we spoke last Sunday, let's just get rid of that ad. During the well-attended morning service on our pure and holy day of the Lord, you had mentioned that there was a beautiful plump sow whom was available for purchase, should the buyer be a good fit for the beloved pig. I am writing today to say that I believe I could make that pig quite happy and be an excellent caregiver for it. However, I feel that anyone could claim such, that they would be the very best of herders for such a sweet and supple porcine creature, when so elegant in its step it attracts the eyes of all in the field. Obviously, a creature of such tender flesh would be kept in the finest pen, whipped so rarely that it would not even wince at the sight of the rod. Nay, it would be granted no worries nor pain, and would be provided only the best feed to support a life of excellent health in its pure employment of animal husbandry. It would be so well attended to by the staff about it, its piglets would be suckled by bottle well away from its pristine porcine teats. It would sleep in soft beds and be made to smell of fresh lavender from hoof to snout. The pig, should it be given over, would be granted a life of luxury in only the finest hand-picked muds. And why shouldn't the hog-snouted, chubby little cherub that you have on offer be given all the luxuries of a fine dame? After all, is not love the thread by which the universe divvies out its blessings and tightens its communities? What else could one do if they were enchanted by the emerald eyes of a prize pig? Should they ignore it because it is in a socially different place than the snobs would allow? Or should one instead embrace the passions of such raw awe and deep affection, and bestow back upon the beast the blessings it has gifted one humble man's eyes. I say a creature of such fine construction deserves a place filled by the immaterial yet tangible passions of a great livestock baron such as I think in our Sunday conversation, I was inclined to believe you saw that unique glimmer in me. After all, when I visited her on your farm, no one could have mistaken how her snorts filled this man's heart with domestic bliss. Surely it is no one's goal to rob a man of such beauty as it sets in his beholding eye. It is, of course, a concern that your estate is not entirely your own to piece out and sell, though one with such rapturous passions for the pig might seem at risk of tearing it away. I am a proper livestocker who would never fancy such an elopement of one's property, theft even. Rather, the rituals of the purchase are of the utmost importance to a Christian man such as myself. After all, no purchase can be said to be godly and complete without the witness of a properly ordained notary under God approving of any such sale. And when we are discussing a pig of such noble stature and blood, I expect nothing less than the finest purchase, ring, fine dress, and all the rest that the countryside has ever seen. As I proudly oversee my richly stocked farmyard, I can only notice the sad empty pen that I hope the fine pig shall soon attend. It is less a pen as so luxurious it may be that one could better describe it as a royal garden, and upon this royal soil I would be honored to have her sturdy hocks tread in a life of worryless luxury. Truly, no porcine life will know a better existence than the one I can provide upon my farm. For this reason, I must finally ask, would you deny that sweet pink flesh the passions of care and love, or would thou say yes in the eyes of God and a notary? I shall sell this porcine queen. Sincerely, Robertson Winston III. GS says this turned out much better than you expected. Well, if I was playing the game sincerely, no. But as a humor thing, yeah. Holly's House says, oh man, that letter is getting destroyed for sure. If the mother doesn't see how obvious it is, she's going to think Sir Richard has unnatural desires for livestock. I did kind of play with that. Okay, our final total score was 5, which means we get to find out how that letter was received. Drum roll, 5 is not a high score. Less than 5 points. Oh, we didn't get the lowest. You have to get below 5 points. So what we actually got was 5 to 7. Florence responds, but is confused about your letter, and so does not acknowledge your proposal. By the way, the worst one, if we got 4 or less, is you receive an angry letter from Lady Bethany, her mother, telling you to refrain from any more correspondence. She has placed more guards outside her estate and has ordered them to shoot on sight if they see you. Which I feel is the more realistic outcome of this horrible letter we've written. Alright. Well, that was a big dumb waste of time, but I enjoyed wasting it. So it is not a waste of time. Which means, I mean, man, we went long here. So I won't hang out. I hope you guys have something going on Valentine's Day, even if it's just taking care of yourself. But if you do not, Tuesday, Fireside Fairy Tales lines up with Valentine's Day. So I am going to be reading stuff to do with love. Not all good, either. There's one about marriage powder. I have to double check, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to read. So if you want to know what that is. GS says, sorry, I corralled you into a pen on this one. Yeah, if you weren't there at the beginning, GS was the one who picked sow, which kind of put me in a place where I had to work in a pig. And the only really obvious thing to do was to compare the lady to a pig. Would you accept that proposal? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this stupid video, give it a like, because I did, and other people did. If you like the channel, consider subscribing, because, you know, it's not all bangers, but when it hits, and you can see a topic you like come up if you're subscribed, and join in when you want. If you wrote your own letter, by the way, I'm fascinated to see it. Quill's an easy enough game to play. Yeah, anyways, that's about it. So, you know, you guys, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I gotta get back to the beach. Get off my sandbar. Goodbye, GS, and bye, Holly, and goodbye to all the lurkers.